Welcome to the yard. It's a brand new yard, man. We got the new playoff edition ready for y'all, man. Man, it's like I said, we're tired of talking about these teams that ain't doing nothing. We only talking about the important teams now, Breezy. We talking about the ones that's going to the dance or is threatening to go to the dance. They done brought a tux and everything. We ain't talking about them teams that's still trying to find out, hey, who's going. No, we trying to the teams that say we're going. We trying to see who's gonna meet us there. You know what I mean? So let's kick it off with the playoff edition. First thing we gonna do is we gonna go down these seedings, man. And that's that in the AFC. You've been saying this now for a couple of weeks, honestly, that it's locked in. The AFC seeding, number one, KC. Okay, at 11-3. Buffalo is at number 2. Pittsburgh, number 3. Houston at number 4. Baltimore, number 5. Denver at number 6. And the Chargers at number 7. We're gonna skip it there. We're gonna just do the AFC this side, then we'll do the NFC. Off that seeding, man, last week, okay, you got KC, they played the Browns. We know what happened, okay? But we had a big one. We had the Bills, and we'll talk about the number 1 seeded Lions once we go to NFC. But we had the Bills and the Lions go at it. Okay, the Bills took it, 48-42. Huge win. Huge win. I'm telling you, man, like, I know you think I'm too high on these boys, okay? Nobody wants to play Buffalo, no matter where they are. If they're in a dome, if they're in a blizzard, nobody wants to play Buffalo, man. I've seen enough from Buffalo. I've been kind of looking at that bandwagon, like watching them, like, damn, they got 20s on that bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm jumping on it. I think Buffalo, man, even more than the Lions, are the team to beat right now. I can't. They done put 40 burgers twice, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and the scary thing, just thinking about it, is assuming the seeding stays the same, which I know at least the top 4 or 5 should stay the same. Unless you're Kansas City, you're gonna have to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter. I get you. I know they just went to Detroit. I get you. But I'm saying any of these other teams gonna have to go to Buffalo against a team that's definitely rolling. But like I said, just playoffs as a whole, I'm still. There has to be a defense that steps up, and I don't know who it's gonna be. It could be Baltimore's, it could be Buffalo's, it could be. I mean, Kansas City's been mediocre, but I mean they could still step up. The team's defense that steps up, I believe, can take it. It's just gonna be fun in general because I think it's wide open.
Right. I mean, and if you look at it, I mean, Buffalo's remaining schedule is New England, the Jets, and then New England again.
Oh yeah, they're running it.
Come on,
they're
man.
running it easily.
Come on, man. And I think they deserve it. It's not one of those teams like, oh, they got an easy way out.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I think they deserve it. I think that, yeah, they put that work in, and the football gods are going to.
I wish they were number 1.
Yeah. I think they put that work in, and the football gods are rewarding them.
They've proven a lot more than KC has.
Hands down. And matter of fact, while we're just gonna go ahead and give you the NFC seeding. That way, when we break this game, we ain't gotta go back and do it. Right at 12-2, number 1, Detroit. Philly behind them at 12-2, at number 2. Tampa Bay, number 3. The Rams at number 4. Minnesota at 5. Them damn pesky Packers at number 6. And our Commanders hanging on at number 7, man. And then last week, we had number 3 pick go against number 2 Philly. The Eagles pulled it out 27-13. That's another team, man. They just keep winning big games.
I just gotta say that they beat them pretty easy.
And that's what I'm saying. They keep winning these big games, and whether it looks easy or tough, they win them.
Yeah.
And I told you, man. I want to see. I wouldn't mind seeing a Buffalo and Philly Super Bowl. I wouldn't. I think it'd be a crazy offensive game. It's gonna be like 50-something to 50-something. But yeah, man, like Philly has showed me something week in and week out, man. I don't see them slowing down. Because here's the big part about that game, okay? Saquon was, for the most part, controlled, like taken care of. Seriously. And what you just say, they beat him kind of easily.
Yeah.
With Saquon being controlled.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's scary.
Well, I mean, it's definitely scary. I'm not taking nothing away from Philly at all. I'm done doing that. But like we've been saying for some weeks now, Steelers defense has dropped off.
Right.
And Watt went down with it didn't look good. It was a non-contact injury.
Yeah. Damn, you hate to see those.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's okay because of the player he is.
Mm-hmm.
But if he isn't, that changes that defense a lot.
Yeah, no bullshit. And then number 4, Houston. Who we had? Who they play last week? Last week, Houston played the. Who did Houston play? Oh, they played Miami. We already said that. We already said that Houston won 20-12. The next big game that was on there really was the number 3 Bucks playing the number 7 Chargers.
And smacked them. God. Jeez.
And from what I can see, I'm thinking you agreeing, the Bucks decided to establish themselves. Because we said it, that's a good Chargers team, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good Chargers team. So for them to come and do that, come on, man.
They dropped 40, didn't they?
Yeah, damn right. They dropped the 40 burger on them. And I want to say it was in L.A.
Yeah.
So they taking 40 burgers on the road now?
Well, you said that you said that going into last week. Well, at that point, you were talking about the Bucks going to the NFC
I know,
Championship,
yeah.
which they could. It could be the Bucks and Philly.
Yeah.
God, said that was the shocker of the week for me.
Yeah.
I mean, not them winning,
Uh-huh.
just how they won. I mean, a 40-piece against a hardball defense that's been, for the most part, holding you to like 20 tops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It was crazy. I don't know what to say about Baker that I haven't said, man. I don't know what else to say. And as in, like, that's a big loss for the Chargers. With the playoffs coming right there around the corner, you want to start packing up these W's. You definitely can't let the other team take a 40 burger to lunch with you. You can't do that. So next game we had the Rams play the Niners. The Rams won that game 12-6. Wasn't really, it was an ugly game. Then we had the number 5 Vikings play the Bears. The Vikings won 30-12. Then you had the number 6 Packers beat Seattle 30-12. Which the reason I want to talk about that one because before that game,
I know
we were talking about the seeded Seattle Seahawks. You notice they're not seeded anymore. That quick. That easy. We're talking about the Rams, who wasn't seeded last week, jumped to number 4.
Yeah.
And I know you said that. I think they said that Geno's fine. That he'd be all right. But
I mean, they're optimistic.
Something to watch.
But they better hope.
Yeah, definitely something to keep a motherfucking eye on, for damn sure. Because that's their season. There's just like if Love goes down, that's the Packers season. You know what I mean, it's one of those teams. Now, I'm going to speak about this one just because it was hella close. Commanders and Saints. Number 7 Commanders played the Saints. I don't know how comfortable I am with them beating them by 1 point with playoffs.
And the fact they blew a 20-0 lead.
Exactly, in the playoffs 3
and
weeks
the fact that we know Carr didn't play, so that Hayner started. They gave him till halftime. He couldn't do nothing. So then they went with the Rook.
Right.
Put Rattler in.
Right.
And you see the final score.
Right. I hear you. Well,
one of those typical, you can see it. Washington just stopped.
Right.
And you can't do that.
And with that being said, I mean, we went through KC, went through Buffalo. I mean, Pittsburgh's remaining schedule. Baltimore, KC, Cincinnati. How do you feel about that? You think to me, and this is how I'm gonna do this. They need to go 3-0.
Who?
Pittsburgh.
Steelers?
Yeah.
That is for what? To make the playoffs?
To compete for that. When I say that, when I'm top 3 is have a shot at that first seed.
Oh, okay. I got you.
They need to win out to have a shot at that first seed. I mean, shoot, if they drop 2 of the 3, they probably won't even make the fucking playoffs.
It's possible.
This is what I'm saying. I just looked at this because they 10-4.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This is the same team.
And what's their remaining schedule?
Baltimore, KC, Cincinnati. Tough.
I mean, I personally think that Baltimore comes back and takes the division.
Okay.
I think they win. I think they win this game this Saturday.
Right.
If I remember correctly, the Steelers will still have the lead. I know they split the head to head, but I believe they have a slightly better division record, or the division record might be the same. I don't know. They're just all the different tiebreakers. I'm pretty sure they're still up there though. But I know the Ravens, which I'm sure you have it down. I'm sure the Ravens' remaining schedule is slightly easier.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because I believe they have the Steelers, and they have Houston, and they have Cleveland.
Correct.
I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think they beat the Steelers, so that will tie them up. And then I think that they will take. I think they'll beat Houston.
Yeah.
And then I really think the Steelers will end up dropping again to KC. I hate to say it, especially if Watt's out.
You think so?
I think. If not, Cincinnati does it.
Okay. All right. And then who is that after that? Number 4, Houston. Their remaining schedule: KC, Baltimore, Tennessee.
I just look at it as they're locked in. I mean, they're in the playoff. They have the division already.
Right.
I mean,
And
that's
all that
that's
matters,
solidified. I don't see them. I think they'll be the 4.
Yeah, they won't move up. I got you. They can't move down because they won the division,
Right.
and they're not beating the top 3. I hear you. We did Baltimore. Denver's remaining schedule. This is an interesting one.
To me, it's the hardest remaining schedule
We got
that we're going to touch on.
We got LA, the Chargers, that is, Cincinnati, and then they finish off with KC.
Yeah.
If your boy wants it,
He's got to earn it.
he got to do it.
He's going to have to earn it.
And it's messed up because he's done nothing but that
Yeah.
up to this point.
Well, keep it going.
Yeah, he got to keep it going.
I mean, I think this next game, Thursday's game against the Chargers, they need that.
Oh yeah.
They take that one. They have a little wiggle room.
Oh, that's a big, yeah. Oh, number 6 versus number 7. Yeah.
They'll have a little bit of wiggle room. In contrast, that's gonna hurt the Chargers bad if they take an L.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna tell you too, because look at the Chargers' remaining schedule. That's the only one they're worried about. They got Denver, the Pats, the Patriots, that is, in Oakland.
Yeah.
Well, in Vegas. Yeah.
And
so,
that's why I say that puts so much more pressure on Bo and Denver, in my opinion.
right.
Because if you drop this one, then you're going to flip-flop with the Chargers. And chances are Chargers got the last 2 in the bag.
Right.
I mean, should.
Should. Yeah,
And then you look at Denver's last 2. Not so much.
Yeah.
Now, I think they're okay as far as solidifying a playoff spot, but like you touched on, you don't want to limp.
You don't want to
the playoff.
stumble into the tournament.
You don't need 3 straight L's. Hey, we made it.
No.
Nah.
No, you do not. You do not. And I don't see it happening, but like you said, that Denver game, huge for both parties. Yeah. We're going to switch over to the NFC. We're going to go number 1 seed, their next remaining schedule, and that's Detroit. They go Bears, Niners, Vikings. What you got that? Give me a 3-span game record on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what's Minnesota's record right now?
Minnesota's record right now?
Don't they have 12 wins?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I think they have the same record as Detroit. And I'm going to say, in my opinion, I think the season finale is going to be for the division. Perhaps.
Good football.
Perhaps number one.
Yeah, good football.
And you talk about crazy for either way that it pans out. You're talking about a Detroit team that's been number one since day one.
Yeah.
And they could potentially drop down to number 5.
Woo. Let's do that then. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back up to the C's, but let's just drop down to number 5 to Minnesota right now, and look at their remaining schedule. You got Seahawks, Packers, and then that game against the Lions. So we're talking Bears and 49ers for Detroit, Seahawks and Packers before they meet each other. Obviously, on paper, it looks like the Lions got a cakewalk. And not to shit on my own squad, but it is what it is. When you got Minnesota, you got 2 playoff teams. They got to beat 2 playoff teams who are trying to make the playoffs. One team trying to make the playoffs, that's in the Seahawks. And the Packers, who currently 6th seed. Those are your 2 next games before you play for that division, like you said.
Yeah.
They're going to be battered and bruised.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say a team to me touched on the games that just happened last week.
Okay.
I have been very tough on Green Bay.
Right.
And they showed a lot to me. Going in Seattle in itself is tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once again, to me, they made it look easy. I mean, he came out there, boom, right down the field, 7 points, got the ball right back, boom, another 7 points. Against a Seattle defense that was riding high. I mean, they were on the up and up. They were top 10 for the past, really the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Like we've been hoping for weeks now, is Love to get back to that second half of last season Love.
Yeah.
And they're dangerous.
Yes, they are.
If he does. And that's really the first game I've seen that.
Yep.
So I think it's too little too late for Green Bay to take the division. To me, they're locked into playoffs.
Right.
I mean, easily.
I got you.
I don't see them. They'd have to lose out, and teams have to.
Yeah.
I don't see all that happening. But getting back to Minnesota's just hot, man.
Yeah.
They're, ever since the word, the defense has drastically gotten better. I don't know if they had some injuries that I personally didn't know about or what. The offense has been rolling all year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a very dangerous team, and until somebody knocks them off, I mean, they're right there to me. The Rams, obviously, are another team that's just on fire right now. I know 12-6.
Right, but it's a win.
Yeah, it's a win. That's what they needed. I mean, like you just said, they just catapulted them to where they hoped to be and wanted to be. But yeah, I mean, I'm sticking with it. I really think that season finale is going to be, and that would be a hell of a game.
Hell yeah, it would. I definitely wouldn't want to miss it. Back to the seedings. Number 2, Philly. They got Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. With the only one they really worried about is Commanders, as long as you don't fall victim to a trap game against one of the other 2 division games, because they are all division games. That's the first thing that jumps out to me.
Yeah.
They're all division games. Trap games can fall into division games.
Oh, easily.
Easily. So
plus you have heated rivalries with
exactly
teams like Dallas. I mean, yeah, they've played better ball recently, and don't go in there cocky thinking you're just gonna walk on. I mean, look at Philly when they went to when they played Carolina.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't, and then in contrast, you had Dallas just go to Carolina and beat the brakes off of them.
Yep.
So it could very well happen, but I'm with you.
Right.
I think ultimately, I think Philly wins the division. I'm nervous for the Commanders about playing Philly this week.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, Philly's locked in.
Right.
regardless if they win the division. If they, I mean, obviously you don't want to stumble, but either way they're locked in. Commanders aren't.
Right.
You take a loss here, a couple teams that are right on your heels, you get a couple wins, next thing you know, you really fighting.
Really scrapping at that point.
And
I think your team too young to be doing that.
yeah.
Not saying it's not possible, like we always say. Not saying it's not possible, but
it's gonna test you.
yeah. It
Jaden
really
right
is.
there with Bo. Like,
Right. No
let's
bullshit.
see what happens. But yeah, I think Philly takes the division. I don't see them.
Next one, another one of our division leaders. Number 3 seed is Tampa Bay, and their remaining schedule goes Cowboys, Panthers, and Saints. They should run the table.
To me, it's this next game. It's going against Dallas,
Don't get trapped.
which I just touched on.
I don't know.
You're going to Dallas,
I hear you.
and if I think if they win that, they're sitting pretty.
That Panthers game scares me more than the Cowboys game.
It does, but I'm just saying if you're trying to get the division,
Got you.
Looking at obviously Atlanta is the only team that is within striking distance,
Disrupt
and they're
you.
essentially 2 games back.
Yeah.
I just think you want to keep that pressure on, because if you turn around, you fall victim to a trap game this week. Falcons end up winning, which I think they have the Giants this week. If they end up winning, then records are tied.
Right.
You're still up. Then
Yeah.
I would worry about that Carolina
Yeah.
game.
Right. Because then them tiebreakers come into play.
Yeah.
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 Right. And then number 4. Them hot Rams you were talking about. Their remaining schedule spells Jets, Cardinals, Seahawks. Not worried about the Jets. It's just those last 2 division games.
I'm gonna tell you, this is fascinating.
Okay.
That division is fascinating. I know you're not worried about the Jets.
Right.
I am. A lot. A lot.
Think they can be overlooked
Oh yeah.
because you got those 2 back.
And you got Rodgers and Devontae balling like Green Bay days.
I know.
I mean, Devontae just went off last week. Off. Like 10 plus catches, about $150, 2 TDs. Did whatever the hell he wanted to do. And you know as well as I do, if there is a weak spot on that Rams team, it's their passing defense.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, that being said, I think they're, because them and Seattle are tied.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think a lot hinges on that Jets game, to the point where I think if the Rams beat the Jets, I believe they will take the division. If they lose to the Jets, I think it's going to come down to
that last game.
that last game. Now, I don't want to overlook Arizona, but Kyler gives me no damn choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if Kyler was like, all right, 3 games left, we went out, we in. I'm balling the fuck out.
Right.
I'd take him.
Right.
I would take him.
But cold football is the one time that I'm not banking on. I'm not putting my money on inconsistency.
No.
I'm
just saying, I mean, the way it lines up, he would have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I said, if the Rams, it all hinges on that. If the Rams beat the Jets, and Cardinals basically done.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I hear you.
Now that could change, obviously, because the very next game the Rams play the Cardinals.
Exactly.
So
I was gonna say that. That's what I'm about to say.
That could
flip
some things, but I really believe it hinges on that. I think the ball is strictly in the Rams' court. If you go in, you take care of business against the Jets, I believe the Cardinals will then be demoralized.
Yeah.
Which makes for an easier game the
Against
following
Carolina,
week.
Exactly. Yep.
Seattle has Minnesota this week. I just don't, whether Geno plays or not, I think Minnesota beats them.
Right.
That essentially takes Seattle almost out of it. I mean, it's possible. it could come down to that last game.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would still.
I think it very much will, and yeah, I know what you're saying.
I
If
would
it
probably
does,
take the Rams.
I'm probably me too.
And I know it's in Seattle.
Even then,
But
it's not like it used to be.
No,
It's just not.
obviously. I think they read it off this past week. I think they're 3-5 at home this
See what
year,
I'm saying?
which is not
That's not a 12-man home. No,
Seattle team.
it ain't at all. Number 5 in the NFC seeding is that team, Minnesota. Their last 3 remains are Seahawks, Packers, and Lions. I think they probably have one of the toughest.
Yeah.
From looking,
especially because when you look at the schedule from the jump, like beginning of the season,
yeah,
you're kind of thinking, which I remember me and you even talked about, like, well, by that point, Detroit be resting people. They got everything wrapped up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not the case at all.
It isn't.
At all.
It isn't for nail one of these teams. Every one of these teams you're going to be playing is playing for a seat at the seating table.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Every single one of them. You're playing playoff football now.
I'm just going to say, I think Minnesota, you said they're number 5, right?
Yes. Yep.
Which they are, I don't, well, that's right. I mean, because they're tied with number 1.
I know. Let me tell you, I got them dropping the last 2. I do.
You got Minnesota dropping the last 2?
I got the Packers beating them, and I got the Lions beating them. I do. I just, like we said, Love is playing December football.
Mm-hmm.
They're dangerous when he's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen Minnesota defense. Yes, they had injuries or whatever may be the reason. They let some teams put some points up on them. This very team, the Green Bay Packers, did it to them earlier this season when they had everybody. And then the Lions. I mean, that's like you said, that's just one of, if not the most dominant team in the NFL. So they can very well lose that game. But I think they beat Seahawks, obviously. But I think that Packers game is going to be send all, tell all right there before we even get to the Lions. I feel like if they play that game, even if they beat the Packers but struggle, I ain't got that much faith to them beating the Lions or them doing making too much noise in playoffs. Just because it's ways on it. It sucks for them because they just have to be in that division. You know what I mean? If they're in the other division, they number 1. They first seed. I mean, shit, if you take that team, that 10-2, to the AFC, what? It's Kansas City? What's Kansas City record right now?
13-1.
So they don't, okay, so they'd still be seed.
Right now, they would be, I think, 3rd.
Okay.
They'd be right behind, because they'd be right there with Steelers.
Exactly, yep. So, but it just shows how just one loss in the dub column and the L column changes this whole terrain.
Yeah.
So I see them beating the Seahawks. I'm worried about that Packers game, and if they drop it, they're dropping the Lions game also.
Well, I know that's one of the teams that I know it's wild card, seed 5, but they are locked in.
Right.
So they're definitely going to the playoffs. Once again, you don't want to stumble.
Right.
So I would say if I'm Minnesota, obviously you want to run the table.
Right.
If I can get 2 wins, I'm still going to the playoffs.
I agree.
But yeah, if I drop all 3
or 2 of 3
or drop the last 2.
What I mean? And that's what I mean. I could see if it was Packers, Seahawks, Lions, and then you drop 1, drop 1. You get what I'm saying? Okay, I even be okay with that.
Right.
But
right.
From what at least my personal feeling of it is, I feel like they're gonna take that Seahawks game and be real high.
Yeah.
And then drop their Packers game, and air's gonna come out of them.
Where is that Packer game? In Green Bay?
I think it's in Green Bay. I want to say yes.
I think it is.
So, yeah, so you beat the Seahawks because you rolling high and The Packers knock the air out of you right before you play the number 1 seed in your division. It's just, I can see it happening that way. Maybe it doesn't, but I can see it happening that way.
So essentially, if that were to happen, they could potentially drop down to 6, and Green Bay would take 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they really drop all 3, who knows? They might end up 6th.
Who knows?
Or 7th, I mean. Yeah.
Who fucking knows? Who knows? Luckily, they do got a team that I don't think really matters if they're playing turf or dome or outside. I don't think Minnesota's got a good enough defense and a good enough run game to survive any terrain.
Right.
Number 6 on the seed is Green Bay.
Green Bay, yeah.
And their remaining schedule is the Saints, Vikings, and Bears.
So, I mean, to me, that's an easy
Cakewalk.
2 of 3, if
Cakewalk.
not 3 of 3.
Hence why I say that fucking Minnesota game is so big.
Yeah, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Dude.
Because what is, I think they're essentially 2 games back of Minnesota. I want to say that, because Minnesota is, what?
12-2, right?
12-2, and I think Green Bay is 10-4.
I think so. They're 10-4. So
yeah, I mean, essentially, they could go into that game, especially if Minnesota were to drop that.
this
Seattle
is what I'm
one.
saying.
Yeah.
Green Bay, you don't want to overlook teams. No, you don't. But I'm circling that. I'm not worried about the Saints. I'm not fucking worried about the Bears.
Yeah.
But I'm circling that Vikings
That
game.
one, yeah.
Huge. Especially if Minnesota drops that game to Seahawks.
Mhm.
Huge. Like, that could pretty much, our season looks, they'll put them in 5, which means they would play Tampa Bay. Oh, God, that'd be a hell of a game.
Yeah, because Tampa.
Oh, God, that'd be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. I watched that wild card game.
Oh yeah. Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, Green Bay and Tampa Bay. I'd watch it.
No, Green Bay and Tampa.
Green Bay and Tampa, yeah, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And it'd be in Philly. And it'd be in Tampa Bay, so it'd be nice and warm, you know what I mean? So Jordan Love wouldn't have to worry about all that fucking weather.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 on the seed. Our boys hanging on to a string, boy. Our Commanders.
Hey, either way,
They're there.
it was. Well, they might win 4 games.
How many?
this
4
year.
games? Come on. They're here. We're talking. We were going in week 15. They were seed 7. They 7th seed, and they remaining schedules: Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles. And I can't say that because you just dropped one to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I can't even say that. I forgot about that.
And that's another thing. That's another thing that makes it so fascinating too. Is could you imagine? Because essentially by that point, Dallas will be eliminated.
Right.
By
Right.
that point.
Right.
But that rivalry.
Oh God. I didn't know where you're going with
Last
that.
game of the year.
I didn't know where you're going with that.
Commanders coming into your house, and you can potentially don't know what other team's gonna do, but it could be one of them. Commanders gotta win, or they going home.
Yeah. Wow. That game.
Would be.
That game would have so much more energy.
Oh yeah.
So much more energy.
That would be Dallas' Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep.
Right there.
Yeah. You ain't lying.
And because let's be real. I really think if the Commanders beat Philly, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't think they do.
Yeah.
So that's a loss there,
I hear you.
which makes the game between them and Atlanta,
Huge.
which I just showed you has been put on Sunday Night Football now. Because assuming Atlanta beats the Giants, which they should, Commanders will be up 1 game. Now, granted, they do have, going into that game, they do have a tiebreaker, but it's null and void because you're playing each other.
Exactly.
So if you fuck around and Kirk has some crazy performance, which he is capable of
doing, yes, he is.
then you're on the outside looking in,
You find
going
yourself-
into Dallas.
You find yourself trying to play to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, Commanders, to save yourself some headaches, beat Philly.
That's simple.
Prove it.
That's simple.
Beat Philly.
And then next week we got some doozies. All right. We're gonna touch on some of these seeded games. We got number 1 KC against number 4 Houston. In Houston. You got an itch, don't you?
I do.
I see a whole lot of mixing.
Especially because Patty is not 100%.
Right.
He left that game early.
Right.
I know Patty. He ain't gonna. If he can walk, he gonna play.
Yeah.
But Houston, I know it was against Miami, but Miami was hot,
Yeah.
and that defense came alive. Do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Do it against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
If you want motherfuckers to shut up, prove you should be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Prove that you deserve to be in the playoffs. Because right now, I wish you weren't.
I agree. Harshly. But I also agree with your first point. If they host KC and beat them, I'll shut up for at least a week.
Yeah.
So yeah. The next big game on the slate next week is number 3 Steelers at number 5 Ravens. Big one.
And that's simple. The winner of that, to me, wins the division.
Yeah.
Which, like I already said, I believe Baltimore wins this. I don't think they're going to drop. I don't think they're going to get swept by the Steelers.
Right. Okay. Ba-da-dun-dun-dun-dun. I'm picking Pittsburgh. I think that they don't want to go into the playoffs stumbling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they kind of been looking like they dropping off
a little bit.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not saying there's no huge fall off, no at all, but that same energy that we had from Pittsburgh 3 weeks ago, you can't deny that is not the same.
Yeah.
They don't look like that's dominant. They don't look like, oh my God, how you beat them. I'm gonna take the Steelers because I feel like they need to come out and reestablish themselves before they get into the playoffs.
Look, I think touch on that game a little bit more. I don't think this is gonna be a typical Ravens Steelers game.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're talking the points wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Ravens will put up 30 plus.
Okay.
And the Steelers they'll put points up. It will be a Ravens-Steelers game in terms of it will be close.
Got you.
But I don't know. I've seen drop off in all aspects from the Steelers.
Yeah.
As to where the Ravens it's almost like they're kicking it back up.
Right, and that's what I meant, and that's exactly what I meant. I haven't seen any major ones, but accumulated, it's a lot.
It looks like
a lot.
rough.
Yeah. The next one on the slate, number 6 Bo goes the number 6 Chargers. Number 7 Chargers. I'm gonna roll with Bo. I think Bo takes that one, continues this hell of a rookie season that just came out of nowhere. For some people, for myself, not for Breezy.
It's gonna be a very tough game. Yes, Bo and them gotta win. You look at the final score. If you didn't see the game, you would think, yeah, they dominated. Defensively, oh yeah, they dominated.
Mm-hmm.
They forced 5 turnovers.
Right.
But if you're going against Richardson,
mm-hmm.
he just is there to give you the ball.
Right.
And that game is in LA, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
And then you have that Chargers team that just got embarrassed.
Yeah.
The Chargers got them the first time.
Yeah.
I say all that. Yes, I'm gonna ride with Bo, but this is definitely this is huge. This is monumental.
Mm-hmm.
Monumental, and like we already touched on, it's big for both teams. This ain't a one-way street.
Right.
The winner of this game, to me, is in.
Right.
Easy, hands down.
Real pretty. Yeah.
But you drop this, then you got a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you dog fighting every game out.
And we already know Denver's remaining schedule, so try to get this one. But Bo is gonna have to play better. He struggled. He struggled against that Colts defense.
Right. So there's that was our AFC big time games. Our NFC ones, it's not so many seeded ones, but there's a couple I still want to touch on. First of all, this one is a seeded one. It's the number 2 Philly versus number 7 Washington. I don't, God, as much faith as I started having with Jaden and them two, man, I don't see them beating Philly. I don't. I think Philly comes to Washington and beat them. I do. I think Washington puts up a good fight, but I think overall, I think Saquon gets out. That Washington run defense ain't everything. So I'm going ahead. I'm gonna take Philly. Yeah.
Probably going with my heart on this one, but I'm gonna take Washington. Don't really know why. It's just gut. It's gut feeling. It really is. Obviously, I think Philly's playing better than the Commanders are. I probably wouldn't say that with the same tone I have now if the Commanders went into New Orleans and actually whooped up on them like it
looked
like they were going to. I mean, it looked like one of them 40 easily.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of let your foot off. But like I have been saying, Jaden does look 100%, which is huge.
Right.
If I recall, I think the first meeting he wasn't. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll say I'll even throw a score out there. I think it'd be very close, something like a 24-20 type deal.
Okay.
But I think it's huge for the Commanders. I think they're at home. I think they just come out with this sense of intensity that will just be enough.
Okay.
Because like we said, Philly's in. They've got the division already. Yes, they could. They still have shit to play for. Hell, they could take number 1.
Right.
So it's not like they're going to be resting people or nothing like that. But that's what I'm going with.
Right. Okay. And the next game I want to touch on, no, it's not between two seeded teams, but it's a team trying to get in. It's number 5 Minnesota Vikings versus at the Seahawks. Now, I know you already told me that the Seahawks are 3-5 at home. It's not like it used to be playing there. But with the Seahawks knowing where they stand, they're going to have to give Minnesota their best shot if they want to get in the playoffs. I think they have the formula, like you said. If you get a lot of, what's his name? What's that running?
It's been Charbonnet.
Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet.
Yeah.
You get them. And then let Geno do just enough, Minnesota might be in for a fucking dogfight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they was in Minnesota, I wouldn't have that much faith. But because they are in Seattle, and the 12 man will come, I know the record, but they will come, and especially knowing the implications of that game, I think that potentially turns out to be a big one. I think the Seahawks upset them.
Which would definitely be huge.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks upset them. I think they upset them 31-30.
Well, one thing for sure, they've got to have Geno.
Yes. Right.
Like I said, they're optimistic, which is good. Obviously we got to take their word for it. Kenneth Walker, I know, has missed the past 2, if not 3 games. Charbonnet's done great, but I do think Walker is coming back this week. So you're back to a two-headed monster in the backfield. If you're Seattle, like I said, they cannot get down early.
Right.
Because then they're back to that one-dimensional.
Yeah, they need to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If they can keep it tight, then it bodes well for them.
Right.
Because they can, like I said, two-headed monster in the backfield. Geno can just pick you apart as opposed to having to throw 45, 50 times.
Right.
You're not going to beat a lot of teams doing that.
Right.
I think Minnesota is just going to be too much.
Got you.
I like Seattle. I do. But Minnesota, they're rolling. And I know at the beginning, what makes them even more scary is the beginning of the year was just JJ.
Yeah.
That's all they really had.
Right. There was no Addison.
And now Addison is right there with JJ. And they have Hawkinson now. Aaron Jones has been playing well.
Right.
Pretty much the unsung hero So I don't know. I just got to go with Minnesota on that.
Okay. I think it'll be a good game. I think.
Either way.
I think it'll be a dogfight. I really do. All right. That's all the big games we got for next week, man. To get these playoff seeds looking more and more clear. But we also got one more thing to touch on, man, and I'm calling it this because this is what I think got it. Josh Allen's MVP race. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know how you don't give it to Josh. I know we also gonna touch on, offensive rookie. I think it goes to Bo. Those my two. My MVP, Josh Allen, offensive rookie. I'm giving it to Bo, especially if they make the playoffs. Not if they make the playoffs, but if they go into the playoffs hot, I gotta give it to Bo.
Yeah.
See, it may not be for you because you expected this. See, I know I've been listening to you, I done heard you, and I've been watching, and from the beginning of the season, I did not expect it. I didn't see this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, come on, man. Compared to what Denver was last year.
Oh, yeah. And that was with Russ.
And I know, and the other person looking at me right now on the other side of that, was like, Jaden's like, damn, well. These last 3 weeks is going to tell it all for me.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
These last 3 weeks going to tell it all.
Because, ultimately, I think, bottom line, I think both of them lead their teams to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I'm more confident in Bo.
Right.
But, it's tight. It really is. It really is. But Bo is not talked about at all.
No.
At all. Jaden, not so much either. But I guess where he was drafted higher, he did get a little attention.
Mm-hmm.
I still give it to Bo. I give it, unless, like you said, these last 3 weeks. Now, if he crumbles under the pressure, say they limp into the playoffs or end up missing the playoffs, then yeah, Jaden would end up.
Right.
I think he would end up getting it. As far as the MVP goes, look, I know we don't do numbers, but I saw something that just kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I'm not saying Josh Allen doesn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying anything of that nature. I just don't think it's a runaway.
Okay.
As everybody is saying right now.
Okay.
He's been playing lights out for the past, I don't even know.
Yeah, at least 5 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you compare the numbers between him and Lamar,
okay,
Lamar's got him in every category other than team record. And the only other stat he doesn't have him in is rushing touchdowns, but he has him in total touchdowns.
Oh, okay.
That's why I say it's just a little bit tighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think, and one time, I know, wifey probably gonna kill me. Allen's never won it.
Right.
Lamar's won it twice, including last year. So, I would have no problem with Allen taking it.
Got you.
None at all.
And then poor Joe Burrows.
Look, man, I'd love to pull up his numbers.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Poor Joe.
Honestly.
Poor Joe.
That's just one of them. I don't even know how you say it, but
yeah, that's crazy.
I did pull up a thing. Like I said, I'm gonna read it through all the numbers between Allen and Allen and Lamar, but I will read through these because it's nowhere near as many. It's just your main ones.
Okay.
And this is between Bo and Jaden.
Okay.
Up until where we are right now. You remember how hot Daniel started?
Yeah.
With his completion percentage.
Yes.
What, like 80-something.
80-something.
Yeah. But for the season, Nick's is better. 65.4. Jaden's is 60.3. Yards. Bo, 2275. Jaden, 2338.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got him.
Okay.
Bo has 14 TDs. Daniels has 10 total. So that's 14. That's total.
Yeah. That's rushing and all. Yeah. I got you.
Picks. Now, that's why I say Nick's he hurt his case a little bit in the last game because he threw 3 picks against the Colts. So right now for the season, Nick has thrown 6 picks, Jaden 3. They would be even. Now games with 200 yards, 200 plus passing, 2 touchdowns, and no turnovers. Nick has more than any other rookie with 5. Jaden has 3. And then rookie of the week, you ain't even got to touch on that. I mean, it's been them two pretty much all season.
I guarantee it. Yeah, I guarantee it.
So yeah, I mean, both races to me are tight.
Yeah.
That's
you just showed me. Yeah, that MVP race is a lot tighter than I thought. I knew that the rookie of the year was offensive rookie of the year was. Yeah. I didn't know that MVP for race was that tight. I didn't know that.
I mean, Allen, like I said, Allen's killing him in rushing touchdowns. I mean, I mean, Josh Allen has 11 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And Lamar's only got 3.
Yeah.
But you also got to think, Lamar has 3 picks all year and has damn near 40 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a toss. Like I said, the swaying thing for me would be the fact that Allen has never won it.
Yeah.
I think, especially going into the year, people were dogging on that team in general, me included. I felt they lost way too much. He was going to have to shoulder too much of the load. It was going to be, he was going to be more turnover prone because of that. He's been anything but.
Anything but, dude. Seriously.
I mean, I don't care, like you said, I don't care where they play. I don't care if it's Detroit, which they've proven. They could go to Philly, they can go to Kansas City, which they've already done. Anything.
Anywhere he goes, man. Anywhere he just has shown a consistency that has completely remedied the thought of him doing too much at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Seriously.
Right.
It's just what it is. Who we see from Josh is who we're gonna get.
Yep.
And I give it to him. I give it to him. Even with that being that close, I mean, hats off to Lamar. What a fucking season he's having. Jesus. But
so, one last thing. We're getting ready, we're getting nitty gritty come playoff time. You have any big predictions just in general? Whether it's a team, getting a higher seed or a team getting the Super Bowl or...
I told you, my dark horse for the NFC Championship.
Tampa.
Baker.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to play playoff Baker. You don't want to play regular season Baker right now. But you're about to get playoff Baker, which he's going to turn it up. And with the dog in him, what we've seen him do against some of these juggernaut teams already, you don't want to play. You don't want to play Baker. You don't want to be in a 1-score game against Baker. And let's be for real, that's playoff football. 1-score games. You get a blowout in playoffs and somebody dropped the ball. You don't want to play 1-score games against Baker right now. So, yeah, my bold dark horse, all that shit is Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship. Seriously.
I got I'm going real bold. I'm making a lot of enemies. A lot. I'm gonna get death threats, anthrax letters in the mail and shit.
Oh shit.
Philly will not win a playoff game. I don't care. I don't care if they take number 1 seed, stay where they're at number 2. I don't care. I feel like the bottom of the NFC playoff picture is too, like you even touched on it. Tampa. Green Bay. If Minnesota were to happen to drop down.
Yeah, Rams.
Yeah.
You ain't lying.
I mean, it's not one of the things. Like I told you before we did this today. I'm more excited about these playoffs as a whole than I've been in a long time because I can't sit right here and say they gonna win it all.
They running through it. Yeah.
I just can't because no team has shown me a dominant defense all year long. Maybe a game. Might get a glimpse.
Right.
And come playoff time, like you said, it's all about running the ball, which, yes, Philly, Saquon.
Yeah.
That's big. But I just feel like that NFC picture, man, it's just...
It's mucky.
But like we touched on, I mean, the teams we just named, they're going to play one of them.
Yeah. They're going to have to.
The first game.
Yep. They're going to have to.
I'm going to say they lose.
Woo. Okay. Philly not winning a playoff game. Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship.
And then touch on the AFC since we did the NFC just then. Kansas City. They're done. One and done. They'll get in and get kicked right back out. Now, they might win one because I feel like the bottom of the AFC playoff picture isn't as heavy.
I don't know who, but the Chargers going to fucking blow the shot of somebody.
And
In the
right
AFC.
now, they're seeded. Right now, they're the lowest.
Yeah.
they're the lowest seed.
Yeah. They're going to blow the shot of somebody.
So if they assume if seeding were to hold, they would have to play the wild card round,
They'd have to pay KC.
and then they would play KC.
Huh. See how that shit works?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, that would be it. That would be it. My gut just said, yep, bingo. Yep, bingo. Go ahead, Jimmy.
And they
Go ahead,
don't-
Jim.
and-
Make your mark, Jim. Come to the Chargers first year, like we said.
Yeah.
The first when we found out he was going there, like we said.
Well, you had me on that. I'll give you the
Here
credit.
we
for
are, playoffs, and here we are.
that.
Yeah.
I give you the credit for that one.
Um,
just like I was talking about Bo. You were
That's
talking
it.
about Harbaugh.
That's it though. That's it. That's the one. That's my AFC one. The Chargers will knock the Chiefs out the playoffs.
There you go.
Bingo. Yep.
So right there, we're talking about Philly and KC being knocked out.
Number 1 and number 2. Bold statements.
It's the yard, baby.
This is the yard, motherfucker. Yes. Bold ones. Bold ones. Yes. Well, hey, man, this is our first edition of the playoff edition. We're going to be like this, lit, fired up, all the way throughout, man. Come chill with us. Come yell with us. Come laugh with us. Send us opinions and feedback, man, as these seedings, work themselves out. And these teams that look good end up being bad, or the teams that down there in the 7 end up moving up and beating teams in the first slot, man. It's going to be a whole bunch of crazy mess. Just stay tuned, man. It's going to get crazy. This is the yard. This is Rob. I'm here with Breezy. Holla.